In the text that we just heard Tom read from the Gospel of Mathew, there are 6 people on the mountain. Peter, James, John, Moses, Elijah, and Jesus. 6 people. I mean, Moses and Elijah are ancestors, but they're people in this story. How many?
6.
How many?
6.
All right. 1 person is transfigured. The other 5 are witnesses. Out of 6, 1 is transformed, and the others are witnesses. What that tells me as a person who reads the gospel is that more often than not, our work in community is as much about witnessing change as it is about changing ourselves. 6 people. 1 is changed. 5 are witnesses. And then there's the fact that the story got written down at all, which is also a witness, which invites us as readers to be witnesses. The work of witnessing change is sacred. It's a part of discernment. So as we continue in the process of revision, learning about discernment, we want to hear from some witnesses of our own today. We'll be inviting them to reflect on where they are seeing the light of God shining in our world today. And the words from someone else in this community who shines.
When Reverend Tom Ott asked me to speak on a transfiguration moment in my life, I had to first reread Mathew 17 and then consult Webster's dictionary. Just to be sure, transfiguration is to transform into something more beautiful or elevated. I knew my moment immediately. On September 5th, 2007, our family had a transforming event. Our 26-year-old daughter, Carol, who was finally, after a long path, finally approaching her social work graduation, this sparkling, rebellious daughter of ours was diagnosed with leukemia on that day. Never once did it cross my mind that we might lose her. She was a kickboxer, just FYI. She enjoyed camping and kayaking, extremely fit, totally feisty, and she was in love with a beautiful man. She was a difficult, touchy teenager to raise. I'm just going on record and saying that. However, she was a woman with a magical influence on children. She was strong. It never crossed my mind that we might lose her. The 8th floor of the University of Michigan Medical Hospital was a closed ward. It guards the patients whose immune systems are compromised due to leukemia or bone marrow transplants. Only people who needed to be there were there in that ward. You could always identify the newly arrived families yanked out of their ordinary day into this fearsome place. They were shell-shocked. And you knew it was their diagnosis day. My husband, Tom, and I were transformed by our experiences in the 12 weeks in Ann Arbor. We saw the brightness and the glory of God present in so many people, always in people. The medical caregivers, the maintenance and cafeteria workers, front desk greeters, parking lot attendants, in our own daughter's courage, unwavering courage. And most especially in the friends who surrounded us, who simply stood beside us. That was Jesus. I have to wonder, is hearing the voice of God, is seeing the transfiguration of Jesus' moment always blinding, baffling, mysterious? But glorious? It's not easy. It is not easy. Like the disciples, maybe I'm not always aware that I am truly in the presence of God now, in this moment, in this day. How will your transfigured self be made present to me, Lord? Where and when? I am certain I saw you there in the ICU. Make no mistake, I never would have volunteered to give up my girl, never. I wanted to hold her babies one day. But in the middle of the ICU, on an ordinary Wednesday morning, as our daughter's breathing stopped, brilliant Christ light surrounded us through those 15 beloved ones, friends who had the courage to stand with us, to protect us, to uphold us through our darkest moment. That was transfiguration for me. Being surrounded by their love and Christ light, as I told my girl, it's okay, baby. Go to the light. Will you pray with me? God of all places, bless us in grief and in joy. Allow me to see you even though I must leave that glorious mountaintop and go back to stark reality. Everything becomes grace after that moment of sweetness when I realize you are there. By your light, show us our own light, Lord. I will not be afraid because I know I have seen your transfigured self through our loved ones. Amen.